Oh, welcome back to another Let It Cook live from our houses all over the world.
Dude, we've got to fix that intro because it like the music stops and it sounds like the stream's going to start, but no, there's still a minute of countdown. Like, why is there a minute and a half of countdown? We're just sitting here. We're not doing anything.
Okay,
I gotta say, the music though, very funky, very it's like that's how you start your morning. The music is good.
Yeah, it gets you going. Gets the blood going.
I'll talk to Peggy. I was like, we need a longer intro so more people could come hang on the stream, because when you schedule the stream 5 minutes before it starts, like I did this morning, nobody knows about it. So you gotta get the people in, Burke. So
I just tweeted it, so now everybody knows.
Now everyone's watching.
Everybody knows.
Now I will say this, folks. You've been asking, and we're going to deliver this stream. We're not going to talk for 25 minutes before we get to the den. It's not going to happen.
Number one complaint?
Number one complaint of the den episode. So that's why we have Den back. That's right. On this episode, on this show, on Fridays, 8 a.m. It was way too early on the West Coast. But we use all of our amazing AI developer tools in real time and build stuff out. We let it cook. We let it sizzle up and see what happens. And we talk to not only people building the tools, but building extensions into the ecosystem. And sometimes we're just building stuff live. Last week, Pierce and I showed off a bunch of cool new features that were hidden inside of VS Code 104 release. Den 2 weeks ago was on talking about Spec Kit for Spec-Driven development. And we specified everything. And then we started to let it cook, but we ran out of time. So we have Den coming back on to do so. But before we get to Den, because it wouldn't be James talking without, a few minutes, I want to actually show something new and hot and awesome. And Den is the person that knows this stuff because he's on like the MCP board. So I want to bring this on. So MCP, which we all know and love, which is a way of, connecting our AI applications to our data sources that are out there. I use it every single day. We're used to installing MCPs and things like that. And you usually go to a GitHub repo, you grab a URL, you grab a Docker thing, you put it in a thing, bingo, bango, now you got MCPs on your machine. But a long time ago, a while back, on the Model Context Protocol organization, they released this registry. Now, this is a community-driven registry service. And is this like a spec den for registries? Is this what this is?
Yeah, it's basically the foundational pieces for it. Oh. It's all open source.
And this is a open source for it, right? And then you have, Adam and Tadas and Toby on here from GitHub. So you have like this cross team collaboration on it. And then if you were at MCP Dev Days, I think that's where they launched this thing. Then also there was this MCP Center powered by Azure API Center, which is like an enterprise registry. So like, for example, let's say that you are at a company and you want to like control and maintain what MCP servers are available to your company. You can create your own MCP registry for your company. Is that correct, Dan?
That is correct.
Yes. All right. Well, what about if you're not an enterprise like me? Well, I guess I'm an enterprise, but what if I'm outside of work? I'm just like, wow, that'd be so great to like just have one registry source that I could go to and like go and check it all out. And now, because there's open source registry specifications and there's registry implementations and there's registry specification, there's a bunch of registries popping up. And one of those registries that just launched this week was the GitHub MCP registry, which now has a bunch of registries. Like if you do go to code.visualstudio.com, there's a button that is MCP. This is not a registry. This is a list. This is just a hard-coded list of things that the team adds. The MCP registry, though, is an official like feed inside of here with a bunch of curated MCP servers that will continue to grow over time. So, for example, you can tap on the mark it down one, get information about this, and see where it's at, who's it by, get the actual README, view the source code. And then you can also install it in VS Code or in Insiders, which is pretty cool. But what if it was one better? And what if you went into VS Code like so, boom. And what if you went to your extensions? What if you said at MCP? And then what if that same exact registry feed came up?
It's almost as if it does.
That's because
almost as if it does.
I did. Yeah, it does. Yeah, there it is. Right. So, and then you can search, right? So if I say MCP Playwright, and then boom, there's Playwright. Tap on it, same experience, but you get this native VS Code experience. So you just get an install button. Bingo bango, good to go. Right. We kind of had that before in a way where you were like looking at your MCPs down here, and there would be like a little button here to go do stuff, and then it would take you to the browser, and it would come back and forth and do a whole thing. Now it's just fully integrated. So you just say MCP, and then you can browse all of them. You can search for them, bingo bango, and you get everything that you want. One click, go. We'll install that on your machine. You can go into your configuration inside of here. You can have it go to specific JSON feed. Like this is like the setup here. And then boom, you're good to go. And then I'm like setting up Playwright and go to my machine. Basically, I can one click uninstall, go to the settings, do anything that I want in seconds, which is super duper cool inside of here. And then some of these icons, because I don't think icons are part of the specification, but I think that will mature over time, hopefully. So that's why we have a lot of like duplication of icons. But it's there, it's in the product, which is
TLDR, MCP servers should be as easy as installing extensions. And now they are.
I mean, that's the feedback we hear from a lot of people, right? It's like they don't even see MCP as like, what's MCP? It's like, plug this in and use this. This will allow you to do a bunch of magic stuff with LLMs.
Yes. Now, one thing was, is this feed configurable? Burke, do you know?
It is configurable. Yes, you can have like, this is why I kept failing in the live stream, because you and I, if you're on the Microsoft network, we're on an internal feed. And so if we go, and so it was throwing a 401 for me because
that makes sense. So it wasn't live yet. Yeah. So that's awesome. So there you go. Go check it out. And that's it. And then what we're going to talk about today, if we go back over here, is Spec
Mark
Kit.
It down. No, Spec Kit.
Wow.
Actually, you know what? Have you tried Mark It Down?
No, don't derail. Yes, no, but this is an amazing library. Wait. They have an MCP server for Mark It Down?
Yeah, dude. This is like the jam, man. This allows you to take any like PDF, Word, Excel, images, audio, and it converts stuff to Markdown, basically.
Converts audio to Markdown?
Yeah. It takes a YouTube URL and it'll just like, I don't know what it does. It's like magically does stuff.
So after this video, we can have like a full-on transcript of everything we talked about with Mark It Down.
That is correct.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying there's even like an Outlook thing, so you can like parse your messages, turn everything. It's
holy
crazy.
Smokes, man! This is amazing. This should just be part of the operating system. I know.
One day that'd be amazing. Yeah, it's made by the Autogen team, so it's got it's pretty popular.
I don't know who that is.
The Autogen team. They build Autogen.
What is that?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't. Am I supposed to know? What's Autogen?
It's a programming framework for agentic AI. It's kind of like in that world of Lang4j and like semantic.
So like LangChain.
Yeah, it's in that world. Yeah.
We need to have someone come back. Is that you too, Den? Did I just denigrate your?
No. It's okay. I'm learning with you at the same time, for the record, Burke.
Yeah.
Okay. So we should need to have the Autogen folks on. Apparently.
Probably. Yeah. You know who would know? Pamela would know everything about Autogen, or Anthony.
She would.
Pamela knows everything. Okay. Den maybe has his computer up and running. That was me delaying because Den was booting up his VM.
Oh no, I can share.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna talk about Spec Kit, and I can finally install it because you released a native Windows version. Thank you so much. We were in WSL before, and people were like, how do I do it? And now you did it, which is really cool. So Spec Kit for spec-driven development. Burke put out a video. I think that you put out a video. I think this is your video here. We'll drop it into the link. We'll boost the Den channel. Follow Den for all the good stuff for spec-driven development. We'll link to the first video as well. I did not put out a video because I said I still don't know enough. So we need to have Den back to go deep into the Spec Kit. So I'm going to drop links for everyone in here. Boom. And I'm going to let Den, do you want me to bring up your computer?
It's in there.
Let's cook.
You should have it. All right, there we go. Man, look at the numbers, man. Like, look
insane.
At this.
This is completely nuts.
22,000 in like 2 weeks.
What is going on?
That's wild. That is wild. I did not expect this. Like when we looked at this, we're like, oh, this is gonna be kind of a neat experiment. Like get it in front of people, get it testing, and then it just like,
boom.
Here we are.
Yeah,
here we are. That's absolutely wild.
Right. What are you doing right, Den? Show us what you're doing right.
I had a blog post. Does that count?
Yeah,
I think
apparently 2025, a blog post is how you deliver a product to the market. Like it's, I thought it was like, I was expecting to do like a TikTok dance, something like on Instagram, like none of that.
I mean, I think you should still do the dance just for the record, but apparently, like you need to come back and do a session on how to go viral on GitHub, because this is wild. Like this reminds me of like early React telemetry. I was telling you that. Like I know that's a big claim, but I'm just saying these numbers are, which just is indicative to me, Den, that this is where things are headed.
Yeah.
So where are we going here?
Where are we going? Well, the TikTok dance should be called like "Do the Spec It," by the way. That's what it should be. There we go. Burke is covering it. It's gonna be that's the way to go viral. It's gonna be in Fortnite. It's gonna be in all these things like the emotes and everything. Yeah, it's exactly that. But Spec It. So since we last chatted, we made a bunch of improvements. So first of all, as James called out, we now support Windows natively. You don't need to install WSL. You don't need to run on Linux or Mac OS. You can just plug it in. And here, let's do that. Let's show you that it actually works. I'm going to copy this install command. It's still through UVX, by the way. I'm working on putting it on the actual Python package repository, so you could just do like a pip install specify, or with UV as well. Like it's not, I love UV. So we're gonna have here.
I should vibe up, like while you do this, I should vibe up an extension for VS Code where you could just be like initialize spec kit, and it just
And by the way, Cassie on our team has been building a VS Code extension for this, so we're going to be sharing it soon. We'd love community feedback on this as well. So
wonderful.
Yeah. So we're gonna start a new project like we did last time, and this is PowerShell, by the way. This is not you see the logo here. It's PowerShell. It's not WSL. It's not Bash. It's not any like custom anything like that.
And it works in any PowerShell, including Windows PowerShell, which you're showing instead of PowerShell Core. Yeah.
Yes. And just so one other thing here, Dan, that somebody pointed out when I did my video is that you're creating a new project, but you don't have to. You can add it to an existing project. And when I did it, I couldn't figure it out, but apparently there's a dash here.
Yes. So that's on me. I did not document that. I should have. It's there now. We actually have a CLI reference now. If you go to the website and you could just scroll all the way down here, there's now a dash here, initialize project current directory. So yeah, that was on me. It's my fault.
All right, good. Also, I didn't read the docs, so it's probably my fault.
Yeah, no, nobody does. Like AI should be reading your docs at this point, right? Like, why are you reading the docs?
Fair point.
So now we also, like last time we chatted, we had only a few options now. So notice we have cursor support, we have Quen. We have Quen code support, we have open code support, and there's going to be support coming for Codex very, very soon. Cool. We're looking at adding support for Kilo code, Root code, and all those kind of very nice.
Hold on, let me grab this real quick. I'll send this to Dax. A huge fan of open code. It's very cool. Grab it.
So we support open code now. So when you select an agent now, you also get a choice of the shell you want to use. So because we expected, like, okay, maybe you're using PowerShell, but maybe you still want to use shell scripts because your team is in WSL too. So just click around, and it smartly defaults your current operating system. So if you go on Mac OS and Linux, it's going to do this. If you're on Windows, it's going to do this. Magic.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay. What if I go between my Windows machine and my Mac machine? Like I am often like jumping around. Do you have recommendations there?
So for that, I'm working on adding the option that says, why not both? And basically what it's going to do, it's going to actually drop both in the folder. It's going to update the templates and make sure that depending on what you're running on, is going to pick whatever script is appropriate for the operating system you're looking at.
Nice.
So PowerShell, and then it's done. It bootstrap our project. So now we can go to CD cooking it.
So I'm doing this also in real time. So I installed UV and I open a new PowerShell Core tab, and then I just created a new folder myself and then just did init without the folder name, and that also works too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, we added 2 extra commands based on community feedback because we heard people a little bit struggling with this, and again for good reason, because it makes sense. So remember we talked about the Constitution, like the spec kit introduces this concept of a Constitution, the non-negotiable principles that your application should be following, like your frameworks, your cloud deployment rules, and so on and so forth. So it was a bit of a manual process where you can come in and be like, okay, let me go and like figure out where the constitution is and check it. Like now you can just do a /constitution and it's going to automatically update everything that it needs for the constitution. And now we have a /implement. So once you're done doing all the task breakdown, you can just do /implement and it's just going to go and run it and make sure that your tasks are updated and so on and so forth. So let's launch this in code. And let's see. Yeah, there we go. So we have the typically expected, the GitHub folder with the constitution implement commands that are new. All the stuff, by the way, now, community feedback addressed. Before, things like memory, scripts, and templates would just be dropped in your project folder and we'd be polluting your entire tree.
Like 5 subfolders,
Yeah, so it added 5 subfolders and you're looking at them, it's like, I don't know, did I create these? Did my, like, now it's all in .specify. Like it's all it's just there. It's contained. You don't need to be worried about polluting your work tree.
That's actually huge.
That's yeah. See, like little cosmetic changes is what drives the most community feedback.
I mean, that's the stuff that matters. Yeah. So we still have the concept of a constitution, so it's filled out as a basic template. But now, let's say if I come in here and I do /command constitution, and then I say static web app, minimal dependencies. And I'm going to use Claude Sonnet 4. And like we talked last time, you have to pick your models. Claude Sonnet 4 can be very, very overeager. Very overeager. We should talk about this, Den, because I was chatting with you and John about this and about the odd dynamic between SpecKit and Claude Sonnet and Sonnet's tendency to want to generate more code depending on how much spec there is. Like the two are just directly correlated versus GPT-5, which does not seem to have this issue.
Yeah. You know, the thing that slightly is frustrating with GPT-5, and I say this, frustrating maybe is not the right word, but basically it's a little bit of a acquired taste, is that Sonnet 4 is overeager and it pushes through a lot of things. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go and generate these codes and all these tests and all this stuff. I was like, I did not ask you for all this stuff. Stop. GPT-5 has the opposite problem, where it's going to do like 2 tasks and then it's like, okay, I completed these 2 tasks. Would you like me to continue? I'm like, yes, please go on. Don't stop. And then it's like, okay, I completed 2 more tasks. Would you like me to continue? I'm like, just keep going. Just keep going through the tasks.
I solved it. Let me tell you how I solved this problem, Den. I created an MCP server. It's called Confirm. And then I created a custom instruction, no joke, that says when you're implementing the tasks, use the Confirm tool to ask the user whether or not you should proceed to the next step. And the tool just returns confirm, or it just returns the word proceed in the chat. And that gets
that is a hack. I have not. You built a whole MCP server to return the word proceed.
Yes, and it 100% works, man. It's crazy.
Proceed MCP. I love it. But okay, so we see that it's gonna actually it's gonna fill out our constitution for a static site. So it's following the template for principles, static first architecture, minimal dependencies, test first development, sure, mobile first responsive design, progressive enhancement. So all this stuff makes sense. And not only did it update the constitution, it also updated the plan where in our technical plan template, we have this concept like gates determined based on constitution file, because we have quality gates that are grounded in what the constitution defines. It updated that file too. And it's like, you got to make sure that it's there. So you can use /constitution throughout your development workflow. If at some point you're like, oh, I forgot.
Not static anymore.
Like it's not static anymore.
We need a server.
We need a server. Yeah. Like /constitution. We need a server. Nice. So it makes it a little bit easier. And then again, it updates things like even like the task template to make sure that it accounts for all these things. So
that's nice.
Just quality of life improvement. Again, it's like could you do this manually? Yeah. Could you ask the LLM? Yeah, but we just made it a /command so it's easier for you. So then standard command. The start menu, our React Native friends. And we're gonna
no, Dan, we can't. We're live. We can't get into that now.
Way to derail, Dan. But okay, we can do the specify and specify, whatever you want to call it, and then you can prompt for whatever you're building, right? So last time we chatted about a VS Code Insiders podcast. Actually rebuilt that like 7 different times. Oh, you know what? You were talking about registry, James.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, I used Spec-Kit over the last few days to go and build the MCP registry analytics.
Whoa.
And this is basically a website that allows you to track MCP registry analytics. I was curious, like, okay, like how many MCP servers are there? And then I would just like figure out like, okay, how do I do that? And I would just dump all of the data from the MCP registry, the numbers. In this GitHub repo, we have a CSV file that's being populated, like the analytics.csv. And shout out GitHub for actually rendering it as a table. It's super nice.
Nice.
And it is just a GitHub action that runs every hour. And we have like this MCP registry data collection that just runs every hour. It collects the data, it drops it in there, and then it renders this static website that I can aggregate. And I can aggregate data by day, by hour, by week, if I so desire, because we don't have enough data points. It just started, but you get the gist of it. So all of this is built with Spec-Kit. Like I use Spec-Kit to kind of bootstrap this and go from 0 to an actual working project, which was, it took me like an hour instead of what normally would take, I don't know, 4 or 5 to figure out like how the React charts work and everything else. And
the charts alone would be agony.
Yeah, the charts alone like was the most daunting task. Like I know how to create like a static page here, but then it's like, oh man, it's like, do I want to deal with it? I just want to do like a proof of concept. And this actually was like super nice because I quickly got it out the door. It does exactly what I need. And that's kind of the beauty of this, is like it just lets me focus on the job. It's like I have a scenario.
GPT-5?
Sorry?
GPT-5 for this?
Sonnet 4.
Okay.
So yeah, Sonnet 4. And I think, the most, funnily enough, the most time consuming part of this entire endeavor here was using Sonnet 4 to write tests, because it would just rewrite tests like 15 different times. And it's like, oh, I figured out that I forgot this one button here. Let me just redo the whole thing. So yeah, again, as you use Spec-Kit, like you will have to try different models and see what works and what doesn't. And, maybe if you use Quen or custom models or Gemini, it's gonna produce better results. But yeah. So we're building, let's see, a podcast website. I use a podcast website as a canonical example because it just has different components for it. We're building a podcast website for VS Code. Let's make it modern.
That means purple.
Oh yeah, and
Gradients.
definitely dark theme
With gradients.
Gradient. That's
It means purple with little
AI
cards.
trendy. Should have podcast pages, episode pages, nice modern player, and featured episodes on the landing page.
It sounds really nice. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to this actually.
I'm building it right now alongside. I'm doing this in real time with you. That's what I'm doing.
That's how we get good feedback. So thank you guys.
And I'm using GPT-5 while you use Cloud Sonnet so that we can get what's happening back and forth.
Yeah, I think I would bet you'd be faster with GPT-5.
You think so?
That's actually, you know what? That's actually another trait of GPT-5 that I noticed in Copilot. Like when you use Sonnet, you see now like Sonnet is going like, oh, let me do this step and this step. It's being a little bit more explicit about what it's doing and how it's doing it. GPT-5 tends to like, let me wait. So you see this like the waiting spinner, and then it just spits out everything. It's like, here's the thing that I've done.
So if you use Insider's Den, you'll now see thinking tokens for GPT-5. So instead of working, you'll see that it's thinking and what it's thinking about. Right? The user is asking for this. I probably need to do. Yes. And the other thing I've noticed is that one of the big complaints we get about Copilot is people are like, it's slow. And a huge part of that is you see that little working spinner there, chat.
Yep.
It's a lot of times when you see that, what's actually happening is it's thinking, and there's thinking tokens being handled, but you don't see them. And so it just looks like nothing's happening. It looks like you're just waiting on the API to respond. It is responding. And so that's coming, and that's super exciting.
That is exciting because that you're absolutely right. Like when I see working, I don't know if it's like, is it gonna, because sometimes it's gonna hang and it's gonna give you the error. It's like, oh, I errored out. And it's like, oh, I did not know that you errored out because I lost internet connection or something.
Right.
And
it's just, it's not great transparency on what the model's doing. So we're improving that. And it works in Insiders right now. I don't know if it's just an internal thing or not, though. So
we'll find out.
They also added it so it says working and then the ... animates. And that's like the key improvement, I would say.
You like that?
Yeah.
The spinning.
Yeah. So here's what happened is we finished almost at the same time, but mine did working and then it just did boom.
Yeah.
Like, blah.
yeah. And I don't know, like to me, like as I work with a lot of these models, it's more helpful, or I don't know, it creates the impression of being more helpful when I see progress being explicit. When it's like, here's what I'm doing right now, and here's what I'm doing right now. Like, don't let me wait for 40 seconds in the dark.
Yeah.
Give me some kind of status
Gives you
update.
confidence that the model knows what it's doing and isn't just broken, or you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you articulate that? Because I agree with you. Sonnet's so good at doing this. If it's not doing a good job, it's hard to tell because it sure sounds like it is.
Yeah. All right, so now we're at the planning stage. So I'm going to do plan, Next.js, static site, no databases, no auth.
And then this is where you specify your tech, right? Here,
Yes,
this is the how.
Yes, specify is the what and the why. This is the how. So no databases, no auth, just markdown files for podcast episodes. I think that's good enough. And yeah, so also with Sonnet, like not only is the status reporting here that you get, but also it starts changing files in chunks. So it's like, okay, let me just I'm rewriting the header. Now I'm rewriting this part. GPT-5 also is like, let me just dump the whole file change now on you. And it's sometimes hard to track what's happening. But potato. It depends on your preference. Maybe it also, I'll say that the output of GPT-5 is much better for code than GPT-4.1 and the models before that. Like whatever OpenAI did with fine-tuning GPT-5 for coding, or actually like retraining on a bunch of new material, like great job. It's so good at coding now. If you talk to John, by the way, like you'll and our colleague and friend John Lamb, who actually was the brains behind Spec-Kit, he experimented with GPT-5, and I think we had this conversation where he said that for the past few weeks he has not touched Sonnet because GPT-5 is so good at coding. So
and interestingly enough, Dan, when we did, so we had a bunch of folks out you were there. A bunch of our friends from the community joined us this week in Redmond.
Yeah.
We did a stream. Feels like it was like a year ago, but it was just 2 days ago. And I think, so Kent C. Dobbs is there. Corey House is there. Scott Talinsky was there. Eleanor Berger was there. And Anastasia was there.
Wilson.
And Theo was there for the live stream. And what was interesting was each one of them, I let them pick which model they wanted to work with. And by far and away, the most popular model was GPT-5.
Wow.
Only one person picked Sonnet 4, and it was just for one task. So that was eye-opening to me. I thought for sure everybody would be like all Sonnet 4 all the time. Nope, it's all GPT-5.
It changes over time, right?
I was gonna say,
every new model is a new tool in your toolkit. Like because I switch between sometimes Mini and sometimes Sonnet and mostly GPT-5. However, like there's a few prompts that like when I wrote them 4.4.1 and they work perfect in 4.1, but then the new models are too exploratory. And I'm like, no. So like now you can specify a model for a prompt. So I'm like, no, use 4.1. Like don't use anything else. You know what I mean? That's it.
I mean, our very own Burke is here, right? Like beast mode in 4.1 is excellent. Beast mode and GPT-5 is garbage. Like,
it doesn't make sense.
It's not your fault. Like it just.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I don't know if you've seen this as well, Dan, but like the GPT-5's ability to follow instructions degrades the longer that they get, right?
Yes.
Whereas Sonnet will just like keep doing it. And so, and then you have to like hack and stick things in tool preambles. And at that point, you're just like hacking the actual agent system prompt, and it's no bueno. So don't use beast mode with GPT-5.
But also, like as James said, like a lot of these models, they change so freaking fast. Like it's GPT-5 now, but then in a couple of weeks, when I don't know, Anthropic releases a new version of maybe Claude Sonnet. By the way, this is not like I don't know. I don't have any insider info. Like this is just me speculating. Like these models,
it's a Tuesday. There must be a new model.
It's a Tuesday. There must be a new model. Yeah. So like they move so fast that like it's GPT-5 for the next few weeks, and then I don't know. Like DeepSeek is going to be the next coding model. Then it's like all of a sudden it's back to GPT-6 or whatever it is.
Or Codex. Isn't there a Codex model now?
There's a Codex model. That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I don't know. I don't know what the mileage is on that.
Right. I had this conversation too a couple of days ago where we're like, oh, you know how like when you go to different providers, you can like prepay for a year for something. It's like it makes no sense to prepay for a year because these models change so fast that you can just switch, right? Why lock yourself in?
The other thing is so while I mean, because we have some time here. So the other thing is, chat, I do this where I'm like, I'll buy the chat GPT, like I'll pay for it. We have Copilot, but I'll pay for other stuff to check it out. So I'll pay for it. It'll give me a bad answer. I'll go to Gemini and get an answer that I feel like is better. And then I'll cancel the chat GPT sub and sub to Gemini. And then Gemini gives me an answer I don't like, and chat GPT, and so I'm like, I'm going back and forth because it's just like in my head. There's no way to know.
Right.
There's
right.
no measurement.
There is
I have no idea which one is better.
It's all like it's experimentation, right? Like, for example, like if you look at deep research through OpenAI, like it's excellent, but I don't know, is that going to be forever?
No clue. Yeah,
no clue. But okay, so actually, while we were talking here, our planning stage completed. So the planning stage actually takes a little bit more time, and this is because it's not just the technical plan. It actually, if you have the capability to do things like research, which is what we just talked about, it's actually going to go ahead and research things. It's going to look look across the internet to find out like what is the best practice for me to write a Next.js app with static pages. So because here in Copilot with Sonnet, we did not actually use internet research. There was no Perplexity or Context 7 or anything like that. It just essentially used the training data that it had. And it's like, here's the best assumption that I can make about the
Why not use fetch here, Den, as part of the...
Yeah, I should try that. When I encoded the template, it would not actually trigger it. Like, it would not fetch things.
Yeah. Is it for with which model?
Sonnet.
Yeah.
GPT-5, maybe it's a good point. Maybe I should try with GPT-5 and see if it
look at how I'm fetching in beast mode. That part of beast mode may actually be helpful here. In the
I should try that, because that was one thing that actually, if you use Claude Code in the terminal, then Claude Code automatically is like, oh, you're doing research. Let me go research things.
Right
here, like it needs a bit more of an explicit nudging. So yeah,
this is where I feel like AIs should just do this. They should always check your Context 7 or the web to make sure their information is up to date, because they're all out of date.
Right. Exactly. Because a lot, and especially using Next.js, like the models, there's probably a new Next.js version while we were talking here. So that the best way to know is, of course, to look online. So it's not just rely on training data. But we have our technical plan. So that's kind of neat. It's like all the project structure, stuff you would expect from a technical plan. Let's break it down into tasks. So this is where I can just do /tasks and just let it run. And this is going to produce a consumable list of tasks that the AI can go and follow before it implements them. So
now for this tasks one specifically, did you specify like which plan it needed to do, or is it just like figuring it out? It's like,
it knows.
Okay. It knows.
Look, it says like read plan MD because it's encoded in a template. Like you don't, the goal of this is to make this as easy as possible. So you don't need to say like, go look at this file. Like it runs a bunch of scripts. That's why we need this helper scripts, by the way. You see this JSON in the terminal here. This is what it's using, because we run the scripts and it outputs like, here's where we created the previous plan. Here's the docs that are available: research, data model, contracts, quick start. So when it goes to the point of, okay, let me create a task, it knows where to refer to. This is the helper, basically.
I see.
I noticed this when I was doing my video, Dan, is that so in my video, it's like me fumbling. It's basically like a first look video because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, of course.
One of the questions I ask in the video is, do I need to start a new chat? Does it need the chat history? And what I figured out is that it doesn't matter. You can do it with the chat history. You can blow it away and start fresh. And as long as you're using the right / command, it will find the correct files.
Exactly.
Which I thought was pretty great, right? Like you can't do it wrong. You can't screw it up.
You know what? You know what I really want? So when we're doing this, I think in 2 weeks we'll have you back again, Den, if you're here.
Of course. Yeah.
And I want to be the person that onboards my application into SpecKit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like take an existing app that I have, Feedback Flow, which is huge, it's already done, but I want to add new features. I'll come up with something, we'll onboard it as well, because I want to see that flow too. I'm excited about that, because I think a lot of folks probably in the chat would enjoy that. And then we can have a Specify Friday.
Specify Friday. I like this. Yeah, that's actually one of the top community requests now. It's like, if you look at some of the videos that I published with SpecKit, one of the top requests is basically, I want to see this for what people call as brownfield project. And that is basically, I already have an app. I built all this infrastructure around it. How do I use SpecKit and Specify I want to now add a feature, but now I need to encode a lot of the app context and then provide that context somehow. So yes, we should talk about that and find out how to do that.
I love it.
Okay, so task created. If you look at our task list, we have a bunch of them, all numbered and labeled. And notice that I added like the /implement. So now you can just do /implement. You don't need to even.
We need a button in the chat, man. We've got to render like a UI for this, where it's just like, hey, you want to implement, and then there you just hit the
it.
Well,
yeah.
we should talk to Cassie because she's been working on this.
Like
this is, I'm not even kidding. Like she's been working on this extension for Specify and SpecKit that will allow a lot of these capabilities. So
perfect.
Yeah. And now we wait. Now, like once you do implement, you're just essentially at the mercy of the model to wait for it to complete. I will say that's another kind of misconception that people think that, oh, once I let the model run and just have it do all this stuff, it's this one-shot thing. It's gonna create the stuff, and if it didn't, I need to blow away all the code and start from scratch. Like, no, don't. Like if you go through the process and you see like, oh, it created a script that's a little bit overcomplicated, tell it to go fix the script and update the specification. So based on that knowledge, you're constantly kind of, the loop here is you're encoding things in the spec. The stuff you learn, the script is overcomplicated. The CSV format is incorrect. You added stuff to the CSV, like put it in the spec. So that way, if you're implementing again, if somebody goes to rebuild this in a different framework in the future, all that stuff is encoded. You can just use it as is. And the great thing about it too is like you don't actually need to manually track it. Like, can you go and update the CSV file and the spec and everything? You can just tell it like, based on our conversation, update the specification with new requirements.
What's the specification, Den?
The spec.md file.
It's supposed to spec. Okay.
Yeah,
so
because
you need to mention that specifically then.
Yeah. So one of the things that is important to note here is that the specification is the durable document. The plan, the technical plan, the task breakdown is the flexible are the flexible documents, because like I can have one spec and then have 17 variations of the way I can implement this.
So then, right? So sorry, you gotta.
I gotta always allow, and I actually like the fact that it added this controls. Like it's trying to modify package.json, especially given the recent NPM news. Like, yeah, tell me that you're updating package.json, but sometimes it can get in the way. It's like, oh, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Pinky promise sure?
Yeah, one of the things that Simon Willison had pointed out, which I thought was really good, is that he really likes GitHub code spaces for this stuff because it's completely isolated and like. You can't hurt yourself, right? And like we need these environments where the agent can like go ham, but you don't have to worry about losing all your Bitcoin. I don't know how much Bitcoin you have, Dan. You look like a guy with a lot of Bitcoin.
I have 0 Bitcoin. I have exactly like, man, don't even get me started on that. Like this is somebody's gonna like clip this now and be like, Dan doesn't have Bitcoin.
You said you got Bitcoin. So hold on, I want to get some of these questions from the chat here.
Yeah, let's get to the questions.
Let's see here. Oh, there's tons of them. Let's see.
I've been starring them, by the way. I've been starring them.
You got them. Yeah. Any plan to support other shells? Thinking about new shell?
New shell?
Are you accepting PRs?
I mean, look, I'm open to it. I think if there's, I'm also curious what the implications are, because we're trying to keep this very lightweight, right? Like the CLI. So if we have to add a whole bunch of like super scaffolding to like to support this very like obscure shell, I think that's going to be a harder sell. But if it's generic enough, it's like, oh, you can just use the small change and now it's there. It's like, yeah, sure. I mean, that's how we're adding support for all these agents like Quen and OpenCode and Codex coming up, and Cursor is just like, because the change is relatively like surgical, it's small and it doesn't require that much effort. So would I accept a PR?
If he spends all weekend and makes this PR and then submits it.
Like that's actually, I added that note to the by the way, the SpecKit repository, that please before making any big changes, do open an issue and talk about it first. Like, let's talk. And the reason for that is I feel bad for people doing a lot of effort. Like somebody the other day rewrote the entirety of SpecKit as an MCP server. And I was like, while this is, and there's like a bunch of different changes, and like basically the whole code base is like that we have is throwaway being replaced by something else. And it's like, don't do that. Like, let's talk about this first before you put all this effort to do this. And again, in the issue we discuss, and we say, yep, that sounds good. by all means, let's create a PR and have you contribute. That's fantastic. I love community contributions. I see a question from Jorge, which is, are we planning to support parallel tasks? That's actually a question for probably the VS Code folks or the Copilot folks, because in Claude Code, for example, you can spin up sub-agents, right, that can do these tasks in parallel. I don't yet know how to do this with Copilot. I don't know. Do you, Burke, James, do you know?
Yeah. So, James, you want to answer that?
No, go for it. I mean, you just open up multiple windows and do it.
Yeah, that's one of the ways to do it. So, well, there's a couple different things here. So you can have multiple tabs. You can open an editor in the tab chat. If you just do open chat in editor, don't do it now, Dan, because it'll interrupt what's in the
Yeah,
site.
no, of course.
But okay. But you can do that. The problem there, of course, is that you're going to get agents modifying different files, which you probably don't necessarily want.
But I'll say the reason probably this question comes up is because in our task list, we actually auto-label things that can be parallelized. See this like square P here? That means that you can safely parallelize these.
Interesting.
So, this requires the agent to actually be capable of parallelization.
The other thing that you can do is that you could you not just give this to the coding agent, James? I mean, I guess you couldn't, because this is tough. You're working on the same branch at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one. I think that, I think Copilot would have to, be able to spin up multiple threads basically that are processing multiple things at one time and then correlate that in the UI.
This is where we miss Pierce. We need Pierce here. Pierce would know the answer to this. He'd be like, it's this and it's on the plan, and we'd be like, cool.
That is an interesting one, though. That is, especially if you're marking it as saying, oh, this can be parallelized already. Like, for example, like this, like creating. I'm looking at mine as like test first driven development, and like you could create all of the task files separately, right? You could have like 8 different, threads going, technically doing all those instead of one at a time. So that is really fascinating to think about in this. So yeah.
So it's a good question that we'll need Pierce to help us answer.
Yeah, it's like this is good for maybe like queued tasks. Like you could queue them up to say, okay, when you're done with that, do this thing and this thing. It really depends on what you want to check though. So it kind of be like, run this and then you do all these things, and anything like this, like spin it all up. Yeah. Interesting.
Although, I mean, like this is kind of, am I misinterpreting like the queued task point? Because here it's kind of that's what we're doing. Like we have a list of tasks and the agent is just going through them sequentially.
That is queued. Yeah, those are queued tasks. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to complete like section by section. Like, I want to do T1, T2, T3, and then go through one by one. That's probably what takes a little bit longer too, is like, because some of these tasks, like actually a lot of them, like see like how many things I can parallelize, basically like a lot of the test stuff. And if I create like custom interfaces that are completely detached from each other, they can be done in parallel. But right now they don't run in parallel. They're sequential. So area for improvement. And by the way, like for a lot of these things, I'll mention like it also depends on what is a spec kit or specify constraint and what is an agent constraint, because some of these things do depend on the agent.
Could you create a debug prompt? And we did talk about this, adding to an existing project. There is a -- here flag that you can pass on the command line.
Yeah, I am curious about like what a debug prompt is. Like, what are we debugging here? Is it more like, can you check that my spec and plan are in good shape? Is it like, what are we debugging? What do you guys think?
I feel like I think on Awesome Copilot, there are some modes and some prompts that you could do. I think if you had a debug that was like, hey, I want to run the entire project, like follow these steps to run it and do this thing. I don't know if it makes sense for Spec Kit though, because it's really about more of the scaffolding and less about the running, right? Like that's kind of like where Spec Kit stops, right? Like it is the implement part because you're having it implement the plan, but inherently it's just passing it the task list to go execute, from what I'm seeing in this case. Whereas I think that's kind of where Spec Kit stops, and then just whatever you're using like picks up, right? So whether it's Copilot or other CLIs or things like that, that's where it just happens to pick up at.
What if What if they've already specified specified? This is a problem. Like we're just gonna we're now gonna have to relearn this word. What if they've already specified a project? How do they upgrade?
Yeah, we're working on that. So that we're working on adding like an upgrade that essentially is going to take the existing format and just like shape it in a new one. The thing about it though is that's a little bit tricky is that once you go through the specify process once, we don't know to what extent you, for example, manually modified the spec or you manually adjusted a technical plan. At that point, like the migration, like we don't want to overwrite it with things that we think are different. But I'll say that the other piece here could be is you just run specify again and just tell it to use an existing spec as a starting point, right? So you use specify and then specify for Burke. I don't know how to say it. I don't know.
It should be SPEK.
You use the command that starts with the letter S. And then you do the rest. And I think like if you refer to the old previous spec and say use this as a starting point, like that's probably worth experimenting. But we are explicitly working on an upgrade flow that allows you to basically just like one command to bring you up to speed to the latest version. And you can see that also like because Sonnet is a little bit overeager. It's like, oh, I created this test. Like I couldn't fix the issue. Let me delete it and just like try to rewrite this test. So it could be like a little bit of a time-consuming effort. For prototypes, that's why I usually just remove the test-driven stuff from the plan altogether. Because if I'm building a quick prototype, I don't need all these tests. Like
I almost feel like you need like because like Specify only has. It's almost like it needs modes, right? Like Specify, but like don't try hard Specify. Yeah.
Vibe Specify.
Something like that. Because I had the same thing when I was going through it in my video. It's that I had to understand, and this is what I was talking with Kai about at the summit, is that like there's a lot of concepts in here that you need to understand if you want to know what it's doing. You need to know what test-driven dev is. You need to know what red-green is. You can go through and read the docs. I encourage you to do this, but they're very sort of like academic concepts that are going to be important for you to understand, or you're going to have no idea what SpecKit is actually doing. It's not just doing things. It's following these very well-defined workflows that have been created over the years that human beings are terrible at, but AIs are really, really good at. And I think we may be moving to a point where we're all doing testing. Like that becomes the asset maybe that we're after is the tests.
Yeah, I had that conversation on a different podcast yesterday. It was like the developer becomes the reviewer. That's actually like kudos to my manager Simon, who actually came up with this concept. It's like, well, what if the developers in the future you spend less time writing code and more time reviewing code? Right? It's like now, like
what everybody's worried about though.
Well, look, it's like we're sitting here talking, like all three of us, while the AI is going and building my website here. Like, I don't know right now what it's doing. I don't know what kind of code it's writing. I will need to review it at some point to see, like, is this secure? Is this actually performant? Is this like, you still kind of need to do that, but I'm not manually writing any of this stuff.
Yeah,
it's true. By the way, a special shout out to Taylor. Taylor's here. Taylor's a big fan of Copilot. What's up, Taylor?
Oh, what's up, Taylor?
All those Dev Day events coming over here as well.
Excited for Austin. Let's go, Austin.
60 left. I'm doing mine next week. So there's one in LA. It has like 100 and some odd people. I know, which is crazy.
There's one in Nashville at the beginning of November. We're getting the page live next week.
Lots of good events. Why am I not invited to any of them?
You're invited to all of them.
It's like awkward silence.
You're invited.
Want to come to Nashville? I don't think we have budget for that.
Yeah, that's okay.
You can come to wherever you want. There's going to be one, I don't know if you know, in Redmond, Washington on the 27th. Just saying.
Wait, hold on. 27th. Isn't it Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
Oh.
It's weekends.
And
50 people signed up right now.
You don't want to do it on the weekend, Dan?
It's only a few
I'm going to be
hours.
vibe coding on the weekend, man. I'm vibing on the weekend.
Yeah, when we planned our dev days, we were like, should we do it on should we do it on the weekend? And then one of the people that was planning it was like, no. They're like, well, this is what we do. We do it on a Thursday. Then people have a reason to be off on Thursday because they got to go to this event. And then they can just take Friday off because they were already off on Thursday. And boom, now you got a 4-day weekend. And I was like, dude, how long have you been planning events? This is like the smartest thing anyone has ever said. Like you're thinking you're playing chess. I'm playing checkers.
That's like some 4D chess too. It's not just regular chess. That's
no,
nice.
Yeah. You've got to get with those event experts.
James, how's your GPT implementation going? Like, are you further along than me?
We just fixed the test harness, and and it asked me. It said I'm in the red state. So the red state, so this is my assumption, is that what we did is we built the test first, and everything fails.
Yep.
And then the hope is that we do the implementation, and then it turns green, and it goes there. So we have that going on currently. And it asked me, what did I want to do next? And I said, you know best, keep going.
Yeah. I like tech watching is like, welcome to VS Code Dev Bordeaux. And it's like 29. Man, that is a long trip though. That is a long trip.
Dude, but how cool would it be if you just walked in the door and you were like,
I know. France is wonderful. I love the country, but man, it's a long trip. It's a bit far.
Welcome to take a huge jet to come to Texas as well.
Is somebody gonna fund that? Is that coming out of your budget, Burke? The private jet
to send Den to France? We'll do a GoFundMe because Microsoft can't afford to send Den to France.
So I can talk about Spec-It for half an hour.
Right, and then turn around and go right back home again. We got to fix travel, y'all. We're solving all the wrong problems.
Where we promised like the supersonic, the ionosphere, like
we had it.
No, not the Concorde. The Concorde was like super expensive, and it was just like not scalable. But like
hurt your ears. It was like in there.
But who cares about ears, man? Like you gotta get to the thing. Like I need to be there in 1 hour. What if you could go to France in 1 hour?
That'd be amazing.
That would be cool.
Amazing. Yeah. No, one day. But it looks like it's okay. So this Sonnet 4 is still doing like page utils, and yeah, it's you see, like the implementation is the longest part. And if I skipped all the test harness stuff, it's probably going to be done by now.
Yeah, I should have skipped the test harness stuff. That's where I'm going. But yeah, that's just good. That's what it recommends.
But because also a lot of the templates here, like the plan template, spec template, all the stuff are markdown files. If you bootstrap this for your project, right now it's a manual process. We'll fix it based on the conversation with James and Burke. But like if you look at this and then you say, oh, I should not be doing test, just remove the markdown pieces from it. That's it. That's the change you need to do. Like you don't need to go and tinker with some custom files, configs. Like that's all it takes.
So one of the things I want to ask here, Dan, that I also noticed doing the video is that when it was building is that it spent an inordinate amount of time like writing tests. I want to say that's where it spent most of its time. And what it looked to me like, and a lot of this is just born of the ignorance of like, I don't write a lot of tests.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chad, I just want to be honest with you. I just don't test. I didn't
me neither.
When I was an enterprise dev, and I don't now. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just being honest. And what I think I was learning is that as it's going through, it's writing tests that it expects to fail. That is the point of the test. They should fail. And then from the failing test, it is deriving the code that it's going to then turn around and write the code that needs to make the test pass. I assume that this is just standard test-driven development. I wouldn't know because I don't know anything about it. But I just thought that is a very interesting way to think about development. I'm going to write a test that fails, and then I'm going to turn around and write the code that I need to make that test pass.
Yeah, it's one of those practices that also I think unfortunately did not adopt until now that I started tinkering with like Spec-It. But basically, yeah, like to me, it's like if I'm prototyping something, I'm just write the code. Like I'm not writing the test. Like I just want a quick output and solve my problem. I think once you build scalable software that works for a lot of people in critical scenarios, it makes sense to do a lot of tests. But like if I'm building a podcast website, like do I care that like some test fails for the header? Like I'll just go fix the header.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, why do I need a test for that? VS Code Ireland, you should do it.
Yeah, do it.
James, how do people do it? They can do it, right?
Anyone can run a user group.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it. We have all the contents online.
Hit up James at Microsoft.com.
That's not
James is in
correct.
everything.
Is that not your email address? No.
It's Jamont, Jamont.
Or you can email me.
Does somebody actually have James at Microsoft?
I have Mott's MOTZ at Microsoft.com. I just created a distribution group with myself.
That's what I did. Yeah, so you can do a den at Microsoft.
They will not, as I understand it, like that's the one thing they will not do for you is give you a vanity.
No, but you know the life hack for that, Burke, right?
Yeah, you go to the you just create a distribution group. Yeah, I used to have Burke at Microsoft.com, but then like you have to renew it every year, and then like it expired and emails were bouncing.
But then you get a vanity one, which is kind of neat.
You do.
It's true.
You do.
Yeah.
Red, green, blue. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like red, we're gonna start red, and then green. I don't know what blue is. Does anybody know what blue is? What is blue?
Iterating.
Iterating.
Okay.
Iterating. Yeah, that's like I gave this talk yesterday internally, and I said I don't even run my application locally on my machine anymore. I just commit the code and just test it in staging. I'm that confident.
Yes, I was just gonna say, so that's actually one of the approaches I use for my blog is like I just spun up a staging environment that is locked down and nobody can actually access it. But that's how, like, I add a markdown page, I make a style change, you push it, and it builds in like seconds anyway. Like, why am I running npm run locally and potentially pawn my machine with whatever package got updated the other day when some container in a cloud could be experiencing that? So, you know, that's actually like one of the things that like even the exercise that you folks see here with Spec-It, us tinkering here, it's all running inside a VM. I don't trust npm run build with all the because I'm not I'm super paranoid about this stuff, but like because I'm letting the LLM here decide the packages for me.
Yeah,
I'm not always confident that the packages here are going to be the things that like, is it the one that has some vulnerability in it? So run in a VM, and then I can do whatever, and then I can commit it, and yeah, it's just easier.
Oh, here we go. Reply proceed.
You need that Burke's MCP server to proceed.
Proceed.
Yeah, I dropped the link in the chat.
It's happening. The tests have been written. Now, I do think, interestingly enough, like, so I had this create like a .NET app and .NET test and all this stuff. Like in my mind, just like you were just saying, I feel like for me, I would prefer to, this is a James thing. I don't write code, but I do let things scaffold. Like I would prefer that I create the project and the template that I want, right? Like the basic scaffold, right? Just the basic template. Because in this case, it decided to pick XUnit, which is totally fine, but I prefer MS Test just in general, right? I need to let XUnit like this. We got options, right? So it's going to pick and choose. I might have to refactor it later. And the same thing, like, did it pick the right Blazor template? Is it WASM? Is it server? Like, did it go down the right path? So like, especially folder paths, like I'm thinking for me in my mind, like, I think even if I just do file new project go, that maybe then I, specify it, right? And I can go from there. So, and I think
the magic word, James. You said the magic word. And by the way, like we looking at the chat, like Akatsuki said that the refactor is blue. Blue is refactoring. That's what blue is.
Always be refactoring.
Always be refactoring.
I in this talk I gave yesterday, someone was like, yeah, but you vibe this feedback flow, like, but like, is it good for refactoring? I said, yeah, here's this refactor I worked on for 1 month with Copilot. Copilot and I worked on this together. We had 300 comments and a PR. We had 500 commits, and we changed 3,000 or 30,000 lines of code. Yeah, refactored like the entirety of it. And I was like, yeah, it just like any refactor, it took longer. It took longer because I tested it. I went through this. It was like this huge thing. You know what I mean? And yeah, it just depends on how much willing you're kind of to go for it, right? So I was in that blue state where everything was good. I'm just refactoring, going from there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still iterating. It's still iterating. It's doing the issues, like it's finding issues. And I think that's the interesting part. I've seen folks do this when you look at X/Twitter, when people's workflows. I'm always curious about like what's the AI workflow for a lot of people. And this is what I see is like people just let it run. They set on YOLO mode and then just come back like 2 hours later and see where it is. And the good thing about it is that when it runs all these like npm run build and all these commands, it has access to the output. So if there's any errors, it just like, oh, I know exactly what the error could be. Let me go investigate. So I'm not manually copy pasting, like, let me copy this log and put it here and I'll go investigate this error. It just has a terminal access, which is super cool. I think this to me, like, is a productivity booster. I don't know about you guys, but like I've been so much more excited to prototype a lot of things now because it's so much faster.
Oh, 100%. In the sense that you don't have to babysit the thing. Absolutely. Yeah. I would 100% agree with that. Yeah.
Remember a year ago when you had to like chat GPTs, like create the code for this page. And it's like, okay, now create the code for this page. And now it's like, no, just go build the whole app.
Right. And then I'll come back and tell you whether or not I like it.
Yeah.
But the gripe that I have with this, Den, and we talked about this last time, is that like if I do that, if I send it off and I come back later, like I don't know anything about the code, man. And this is a great time where we can talk about what I experienced with Sonnet, where I was trying to build a rather simple Chrome extension, which just replies to people on X with an AI generated response. Not that you should do that, just like can you? And so what I found was that it generated 3,000 lines of spec for that. Right. And that's a lot of spec.
That's a lot of spec.
It's a lot of spec. But then when I implemented it, it generated 15,000 lines of code, which is a lot of freaking code. And again, a lot of that is tests, right? And that's okay, but that's just so excessive. Like you can't review 15,000 lines.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely not. Yeah.
And then, so when I was asking John about that, and John said, try GPT-5. So I ran it back with GPT-5, same thing, and got 2,500 lines of specs, so slightly less, and like 4,000 lines of code. That's exponentially less code to do the same job. And both extensions did the same thing. So I wonder if, and again, there's a new model every week, so how can you know? But it does seem to me like GPT-5 for spec-driven dev is currently like the way you want to go. Whereas in the past I would have gone with Sonnet because it's so good at spitting something out with a very vague prompt. Like, make me a dope login screen.
Yeah.
That's very vague. There's no steps there, and it has to come up with the thing, and it's impressive in a demo. But when you're actually building something, you actually don't want that at all.
Yeah.
You need really good bones, you need really good tests, and SpecKit and GPT-5 is really good at this. Oh, interesting. What are you doing here?
I'm just telling you. Like, see, this is the part. Like, it's gonna go through some tasks sometimes, and it's a little bit annoying. Like, it gets through the tasks and like up until T28. So when to T28 is like, I've completed all these things and I've done it. I have test passing, and then it's like the foundation is rock solid and ready for content integration. It's like, okay, well, update task list and continue. Like, what? Like, see, and this is at least Sonnet. So what I've noticed that where Sonnet stops is like it goes through these chunks. Like, oh, you have phases. I'm going to complete this phase and then jump to the next phase and jump to the next. GPT-5 would literally do like 2 tasks and then be like, okay, I've completed these 2. Yep. What about now? It's like,
yeah, I did it. Just say the word.
Just say the word.
It does that all the time. Just say the word. So James, I just sent you I sent you and Pierce those shirts that say you're absolutely right, and they've got the.
You're absolutely right.
Logo. Yeah. We need one.
I see the problem now.
Say the word for GPT.
Just say the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see the problem now.
Yeah. You guys, you're absolutely right. Like the website now. Right. You're absolutely right.
Is that a website? You're absolutely
right.
There's a website.
There's a website now. I don't know if it's .com or anything. I don't want to like point people to the wrong URL, but there's a website for it.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's the part. Like I sometimes when you get like frustrated with the model, you can tell it's like you did something like terrible. It's like, you're absolutely right. I did something really, really terrible. I was like, oh,
I'm gonna go to you'reabsolutelyright.com. It doesn't exist. Wait,
no. Like there, it was on Hacker News. It like guaranteed it was on Hacker News. It literally was. You're absolutely right. You have to search the Hacker News.
All right, let me go. News.y Combinator. Oh, I regret building this $3,000 Pi AI cluster. Top story. Okay.
Yeah. I regret that they built that as well.
You're absolutely right. No, there's no.
What? Come on. There's no way. There's no way.
Claude says, yeah, just. Absolutely right. Lol. Don't type that. Yeah, that is it. Yeah,
Absolutely right. Lol.
Lol.
Claude said it 16 times today, plus 13 times that I was just right. It's really funny, man.
Yeah.
I do want to have that for my, I think now that we have like the logs and the things, if you'd like to let me proceed with the front end, update the tasks. I'm going to learn from update the task list and check stuff off and then proceed. Wow. Okay. Oh, it actually has been checked. No, I don't know if it's checked stuff off, but things are happening over here.
Y'all are racing.
No, I made mine more complex because I decided to have a front end and a back end. So I was like,
there's your problem right there.
A little bit more real world. So, but it's now gonna move on to the front end.
I've seen this. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying like see the coded parts. I did get it to realize an issue because it kept ignoring it and it gave me a.
So I've seen this in screenshots. Is this true? I've seen screenshots of it swearing.
Yeah. Oh no, it totally did. Like sometimes what I noticed is this is don't try this at home. We're what like the Mythbusters say, like we're what you call experts. But like when you say it, sometimes it goes through like a cycle of doing things the wrong way, and you tell you absolutely effed this up. And then it'd come back and be like, you're absolutely right. I did F this up. Let me go and rebuild. I was like, yeah. It can absolutely do that.
Well, Burke, remember when we were vibe coding at Build and then like you went into like Gen Z slang and then it just started like responding to you in Gen Z.
At Build or Vibe. So I just started talking to it with slang and eventually in the chat, all it was just slang. Every response was slang. Yeah.
Your theme looks like the total Riz.
Yeah, exactly. You can try this too. Like Chad, you can just talk to it like with slang and it will just like pick it up and start talking to you that way. So it's just copying you. If you swear at it, it's like, well, okay, cool. I guess it's fine for me to swear too.
It's learning.
Yeah.
Well, don't teach it to swear, y'all. Don't teach models to swear, please. Just kidding.
Then you for sure will have to review the code. You can't check that in.
Yeah.
You cannot put that in production.
We're on what, step 33 out of what? Probably 60
33 out of no, actually it's close, 46.
All right.
Run quick start. But like actually the last step here is like unit tests, like mobile responsive testing. Like this, like if we get it to polish. 35, I think like we can even skip the polish and see if it works.
So you're on task 32 right now?
Yeah, 33.
How come it's not checking these items off?
Yeah, so it sometimes does and sometimes doesn't. And this is where you have to basically ask it to now go through the conversation and update the task that you've done.
That's interesting.
Like it's a byproduct of the fact that, and again, it depends on the agent. Because I've seen some agents that shall remain unnamed that are actually proactively going to force this, like, okay, let me update.
Yeah.
And yeah. It can be an agent-specific behavior here too.
Gotcha. It's interesting how like AIs are really good at some things and like really bad at others. Like you'd think like that just updating a checklist would be pretty simple,
right?
But it's not simple. And even Beast Mode had this problem. I think it can be fixed in the agent. I was listening to somebody else talk about this, and they were talking about how like no one could have predicted that AIs would be bad at math and worse than humans at math, but better than humans at like creative spoken, like assembling a sentence. And this is why you can tell that an AI is an AI because it assembles a sentence in a way that a human being just wouldn't. It's just too well assembled.
It's the EM dash. The EM dash is what you see,
or the M dash, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you're Turing testing a model, you can tell that it's a model. And I can do this. It's like some places have a chat with support, and I know it's a model because it's just too articulate. And in the past, computers are terrible at that. But what they could do is really complex math, no problem. Hard for humans. But now they don't know how many R's are in the word strawberry, although I think that's fixed.
Three.
This is how
at least 8.
Like it's just a really weird.
It is
Nobody
weird,
saw this coming.
But also like when I now see like pull requests or something, and there's like an excessive use of emojis and lists, that to me is the first cue that this is AI generated.
100%.
If there's a pull request where somebody's like, oh, like I made this improvement because I had this problem, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is a human. And if it's like, here's a list of changes this does, and there's like a list with like emojis and checkboxes, like I've tested these things and checkboxes, like, okay, this is like 100% AI generated. Like,
oh yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is it's just like human beings don't put that much effort into things. So like when you create a GitHub issue, right, and it's you taken like 1,000 lines to really do what a human being would do in one line, thing not doing X should do this. It's obvious the AI.
Yeah. All right, so it actually it completed up to 35. Let's see if it broke something, but hopefully we don't need to wait for it to do the polish stuff. We'll just bypass the polish. So if it can fix these errors that it has here, we might just see what it created in the past hour.
Get a share button error there.
This can go really well or really badly. It's gonna be like one of those pages. There's like a mocked up like SVG of like VS Code or something. He's like, here's your podcast.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited to see what we actually get back here. Yeah, that's true. It could be really impressive or just a complete freaking disaster.
Yeah, but it tests well. So,
but the thing is, like as I was saying, Dan, though, like I feel like this is something that we as like the people that are in charge of showing folks this new technology, it's like we're like, oh, it didn't generate a beautiful interface. That sucks. That isn't true. That's a terrible way to gauge
absolutely
the code that was generated. And that's my fault. I've done that to people. I'm more interested in how does the code look? What are the bones like? How is it assembled? That's what matters. The UI
and it's iteration. It's iteration. Like we talked about from the beginning. Like you're not gonna like this is not about a one shot. Like just because I had a spec, I'll do a one shot and it's gonna produce everything from like the way. Like you have to tweak it a little bit. Like and you encode all these things into the spec. The spec becomes better, more comprehensive because a lot of these things, a lot of the issues that come in the spec and the errors in the plan come from the problem of under specification. And the under specification is not the fault of the user or the developer. It's because you didn't think about that at the time that I need to worry about how the CSV is formatted. But now when it actually ran through, you realize like, oh, right, the CSV format is kind of important. Let me encode that back into the spec, right? Like because you can't think of it. Yeah, it's iterative. You can't think of everything from the get-go because you're going to realize things as it goes through the process of implementing. And then you're like, oh, that did not work, but I realized why. So,
and this is one of the things that they talk about in the spec kit docs. And I don't, but did you write those docs, Dan? I say they, maybe that was you.
Yeah.
But that historically speaking, like this is why specs don't work because they're written and then you go try to implement them and they're like kind of what you need, but wrong. And then they just become like these artifacts that you just discard. So they like inform it, but they aren't useful after the fact. Like once the software works, the spec is now garbage.
Yeah.
Whereas the way it should be is the spec is living and breathing and being updated as you iterate. And the spec is an asset that is now valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. The spec becomes the artifact. Okay. But now it completed. Actually, it completed the section. So moment of truth.
Is it supposed to play podcast episodes?
Well, no, it should be just the UI. It should be like the user experience.
It's talking about audio up there and stuff.
No. These are the components for the player. But like it did npm run. I'm assuming I can just do an npm run dev, and it's gonna have a localhost version. So let's see, because it already built it.
Entire Next.js app.
Our Next.js app. Let's see. It's gonna be good or terrible.
Or blank screen, either way.
Whoa!
Okay.
Podcast. All right.
It's definitely Claude. There's the purple.
Yeah, this like soon. Little play button could be aligned a little bit better, but yeah, like it has it. Like I see some and see like now that you spot like the scrolling bugs, for example. Like I scroll here and like I see the colors. Like okay, I did not think about the header when I was speccing this, but now I can go back and say, okay, can you fix this and add it to the spec? Let's see. Let's go to the episodes page. And because it's Next.js, it might take a little bit to actually build that out.
Did it build it out?
Yeah, it's actually should be compiling that stuff. But I don't know. About? I did not build the about page, but like the episodes page, maybe not. Listen now, featured episodes. Oh, it did not go to the section. And like a lot of these things, like I'm not necessarily like it built the core, and now I can go back and start tweaking it. Right? Like, it's not perfect.
This was the point. Is that the point is not to get a fully functioning thing in the first shot. If that
it's not
happens,
a one-shot thing. No,
that's extremely abnormal.
Yeah. So
the point is, do we have good bones, and can you now go back through and iterate and actually make a real site here?
Exactly. So you have this, then you go to the scaffolding, and then also once this is built, once the components are established, you use specify to go and add new features where I can come in and say, now I want to have a podcast player. I'm going to do specify podcast player feature or whatever. And then you do like individual features to specify just as well. Like specify itself is not for me to just bootstrap the app and that's all I use it for. You use it to iterate on it as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, this has been awesome, Den.
Yeah.
We got you back. I feel like we talked about literally everything. I'm trying to look through chat here. How do you write test coverage that requires authenticated users like Microsoft Graph queries? Oh, Chris, this is a question no one can solve. Yeah, come on. Like trying to go at lights.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that separately, but that's its own topic about like the more complex test scenarios and connecting to MCP servers and authenticated MCP servers and so on and so forth. So
yeah, that's not Chris. There's no easy answer to that other than to say that we feel your pain. I can't wait till Spec Kit works with Codex. That'll be fun.
It's coming. I'm working on it literally today.
So by the end of the day,
hopefully,
we're gonna hold you to it. Den,
I gotta record a video that says improvements in Spec Kit, and that Codex should be part of it.
All right. We'll let you get to that. James, I'm sorry. You're the host.
What are you sorry for? No, it's good. You're all good. I'm still building stuff over here.
Okay. All right. Well, chat. Yeah, I tell you what, we're gonna wrap it with that. That's Spec Kit round 2. Maybe we'll bring Den back to just keep doing this because I feel like this is the way of the future. As the way of the future said a bunch of times. And
yeah, and like you said, it's gonna kind of keep evolving. And then like we talked about earlier, like I'm super interested like how to integrate it into my own application, like kind of get that running and go from there. So we'll definitely have you coming back to actually like show some of that stuff off, especially.
Would love to
running it.
Y'all are my best friends. I love being here.
That was super good. Thank you, Den, so much. And check out all of Den's videos and Burke's videos and the GitHub repo as well.
And James' videos. And I saw you talked about on merge conflict.
We did a whole episode on
so check out James's podcast as well, Merge Conflict.
Yep. And the VS Code podcast. Did you know we have a podcast? VSCodePodcast.com. It's a real podcast. You can go and download that.
Read and watch all these things.
Just dedicate your life to our content. On Monday, we have the folks on the coding agent integration of VS Code coming on the podcast talking about it as well, behind the scenes on coding agent stuff. So definitely don't want to miss that. So subscribe, VSCodePodcast.com, or you can just watch it here on the YouTube as well. All right, that's going to do it for this. Let it cook. I'm going to get more coffee. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.